Well, we put together a great group of crisis experts today to share tips on communications protocol, a strategic approach, the do's and don'ts when working with the media. And I am now going to just introduce them right down the row, and they can tell you a little bit about sort of what their role is in coordinating and communicating with different organizations and constituents. So I have Mark Storms right to my right from the LAFD, as well as Brian Humphrey.
Hi, Mark Storms. I'm Assistant Fire Marshal. In November, I'll have 33 years with the fire department. I'm an incident manager for large-scale incidents, and I work back in the field as a division commander responsible for a third of the city. And currently, as the fire marshal, I oversee all the planning and the development and building of new construction, as well as the maintenance of existing.
My name is Brian Humphrey. I'm a 25-year veteran of the LAFD. I work full-time in crisis management and risk communications for the LAFD. It has been my honor to, after I left law enforcement, I joined the fire department. And hopefully it helped to evolve our mission, the fact that we're a full-spectrum life safety agency. And I work full-time again in crisis management, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you today.
And we have Rick Martinez from Anaheim PD.
Hi, I'm Rick Martinez. I'm a sergeant at the Anaheim Police Department. I'm obviously the oldest of the group because I have 36 years on with the department. The last 10 years I've been serving as the public information officer, which makes me the department spokesman. And in my experiences, I have Disneyland, the Anaheim Resort, a lot of different venues in our city. Obviously, image is a big concern, and crisis management is a big concern. So what I do is whenever something takes place, I meet with the hotels and work with the media to inform the public of what accurately took place without raising too much fear, but again, at the same time, making sure that the information is controlled and accurate. So I too look forward to talking to you today. Thanks.
And Juan Hernandez from KCAL TV.
Yep. Hi, everybody. I work with all these guys to get the information out to our viewers, and I work with Rick and I work with the other departments here, and good relationships with all these departments really has a lot to do with trusting the information they're going to give us. And if they say we do have something, but you guys need to hold back for a minute, or just give me few more minutes, and I'll get that for you. It's just having that trust and that good relationship. So.
Craig Ripser, who is president of Blaze PR.
I basically do whatever Karen tells me. Been in public relations and in crisis PR for a little over 25 years. Everything from some celebrities that we'd rather not talk about, to McDonald's, GM union issues, Mitsubishi union issues, all the way to natural disasters. I had my best times with civil disturbance in LA for 3 retail clients. Same 3 retail clients for the Malibu wildfires, where we lost 15 units, and then also the Northridge earthquake, where we ended up, I was a liaison to the Red Cross, and we ended up feeding 30,000 meals.
And Larry Meyerhofer.
Hi, I'm Larry Meyerhofer. I work with the City of Los Angeles Emergency Operations Center for the Emergency Management Department. We're basically responsible for the operational readiness of the city's Emergency Operations Center. We work with fire, police, mayor, and all the 49 different departments in the city to coordinate response to any type of major event.
The question, so what is your protocol with private organizations in the case of an emergency?
Generally, what we'll do is when we come on scene, whether it be anything from a heart attack or a stabbing or a shooting to a large fire in a let's say a hotel where you had a significant event. One of the problems you're going to see as managers within the building or the structure is that who do I ask and who do I get information from? And generally, if you ask the classic, who's the supervisor, who's in charge, that will help you get to the person you need to know to get the information. Understand that if it's a medical issue, we're handcuffed by a lot of guidelines as far as HIPAA and sharing of information. and you're going to get very little information other than possibly a destination that you can share with a family. Relative to a fire or an incident like that, where you have that emergency that's taking place, we are going to depend on your emergency plan, especially in a high-rise. You would have that plan in place. You would have your designated safety officers and folks that we would work with if it was a regular, normal day.
A question that I'd like to pose next is relative to the hotel's own messaging and who becomes the designated spokesperson for the incident. Is it shared between outside organizations and the private organization, and how do the two entities work together so that whatever is being said is consistent? And who has the lead, or is it okay to have multiple spokespersons from different organizations, even though they're saying the same thing?
As far as who's the most appropriate person, I think it's important that we get this monocular focus on crisis communications in the media. When you see media, the first thing I think of is a TV truck showing up from Channel 2 or Channel 9, and that's not the news. The news is just like a disaster is not just the response phase. The same thing is your spokesperson needs to understand this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And your spokesperson has to have a scribe or an assistant with them at all times. Chief Storms and I both responded to the Metrolink incident from different angles back on September 12th of almost 2 years. And one of the things we learned that was very evident is that you can't be short on your bench. That your spokesperson cannot go too long. They need to have somebody with them monitoring them, saying, you're looking a little tired, these are the facts and figures. It is a team effort. Even though there's just one person inside the focus of that frame shot, you need to have a team behind you. As far as the most appropriate spokesperson, it takes many different angles and many different venues. Most of your organizations have labor behind them. Your labor organization may have a newsletter. One of the best things you can do as a spokesperson is to bask in the reflected light. It's not just about the hotel manager, it's not just about the property, but let the other stories be told. Think as this marathon goes on, who's the most appropriate person to tell this angle of the story? Either they do it with your coordination, your support, and your help, or they do it on their own. And in that regard, I do believe that you can work alongside. But again, as I mentioned earlier, the gaps is where the problem between the response, as firefighters begin to roll up their hose, as the SWAT team gets back on the truck and leaves, it's that awkward moment that you have to be ready to control and smooth that between response and the beginning and long terms of recovery.
I think the best way I could describe who should be a spokesperson is if I can relate it to an accident that took place at Disneyland many years ago. And be it a theme park, it applies to any business. I served as a spokesperson for the investigative angle of the accident until we could turn it over to Cal OSHA. There was a large fire response because of the amount of injuries on this attraction. There was one fatality, 29 people injured. We arrived, and of course that generated international news, and everybody wanted information. But what the media wanted, they knew they were going to get the police response and the fire response, but what they wanted was somebody from the company acknowledging that something took place. And in the past, it's no secret, is that they would not go on and acknowledge anything took place. That was that one accident a few years ago was the change of their how they handle crisis communications. They made a decision to send the president of the theme park out with us to address the media, which caught a lot of people by surprise, I must be very candid. So we had a police officer, a fire PIO, and the president of Disney. We went out there and addressed the media. We acknowledged what took place. We talked about the response and what was being done for the injured parties. And then the spokesperson for the organization got up. And I have to tell you what she said initially, or behind, at least to us, was that she says, I don't know what I can say because I don't know anything. But what she chose to say was that we did have an accident. We've notified the authorities that are here. There's an emergency response. This is what the police department's doing. And on behalf of the company, we extend our condolences to the family and our prayers